Hey guys, in this scenario, we are going to discuss about an interesting situation which is related to the program manager's decision-making right, particularly with respect to funding allocations, which is, of course, an important thing to consider when you are working on a program in the real life scenario. Let me read out the scenario first, and then we are going to discuss. Your program is at the end of the delivery phase. All components are in the final stages except one component which is behind the schedule. You have an amount of money available after the funding allocation. What is your action as a program manager? Option A, return the money to the funding organization and let them decide. Financial decisions are taken care of by the program sponsors. Option B, use the money to accelerate the component which is behind its schedule. Option C, ask the governance board. Option D, use the money to accelerate the overall program delivery, not just one component. So before I start on the explanation part, let me help you in understanding that as per the best practices, the program manager is empowered to utilize the program funding, which is already allocated by the sponsoring organization or the sponsor for the program delivery, right? Which is the case over here. So the maybe even without seeing the option choices based on the context available in this question, we would say that the answer to this question is, as a program manager, you are allowed to utilize the uh, unspent monies as and when or as per your best discretion in the program management role. However, whenever we are going to answer our question in the real exam, we need to be careful about the option choices available because multiple option choices would have certain, contextual understanding which is related to that scenario. And based on that, we probably would have a better choice than this. So let's take the option choices. Option A says return the money to the funding organization and let them decide. Financial decisions are taken care of by the sponsors. Maybe in the real world scenario, you would say that I, as a program manager, am not empowered enough to make the financial decisions on my own, even when the funding allocation is there, um, explicitly by the sponsors for the program. This is a possibility. However, we are talking about this scenario as per the best practices. So, as per the best practices, the financial decisions, of course, are taken care of by the sponsor, but those financial decisions where the delegated authority has been transferred to the program manager, the program manager is he is the right person to make that decision. So the situation over here is that the component is one of the component is behind schedule and the other components are already done with their contribution to the program and they are already in the finalization steps or maybe in the closure phase, or maybe some of them are already closed. So although it's a program and program could have multiple components, but in this particular situation, we are struggling with one component being behind schedule and the other components are already done. So it's that one component which is behind schedule, which may impact the overall program benefits and value delivery for the organization. So the program's success is actually not dependent on that one component which is behind the schedule. This is the situation. And the other opportunity which is there is some of the money is available after completing the remaining components and from the sponsoring organization that funding allocation has been done to the program already. So which means the program manager has the discretion to allocate the funding which has been assigned to him as per his best discretion. So in that context, option A is not the right thing to do. As much in one information which is available in the scenario, option A is not the best thing to do, right? So returning the money to the funding organization would act and asking them to decide and to suggest the next best steps to utilize that funding is going to be micromanagement, I would say. It's not going to be the best way of work. Okay? Option B, use the money to accelerate the component which is behind schedule, which is exactly the same thing I already explained in the start that as per the best practices, if the funding allocation is there and there is no other, restrictions like maybe some of the components business case are being violated with that allocation of unspent monies to them, or maybe some of the thresholds are being breached because of that. In in that case, even when the funding is available, the program manager is supposed to be doing something else. Maybe program manager would not be the only person to decide what to do. And by that, I mean to say that, for instance, the component which is behind the schedule is overrunning the schedule uh, by a huge number, or it's way beyond than the agreed upon expectations of variation. For instance, the agreed upon expectation, maximum agreed upon expectation was 15%, beyond which the component probably is going to be reevaluated or terminated or closed as per the decision making of governance body. And even when the unspent monies are available, the program manager alone is not the right decision making power, because um, that may violate or that may invalidate the business case. So in that case, if the threshold is breaching or business case is at stake, yes, you as a program manager are not the sole authority to decide the right thing to do, even when the money is available. In that case, option C would be the right thing to do. But if the situation is only that the component is behind schedule and you have some money available, and with that you can probably expedite the component by adding more helping hands and resources, or maybe more tools or automations or anything which you could do, which possibly could be done with the funding availability. You are allowed to do that as a program manager. But yes, if it is otherwise, like the other situation, business cases being invalidated, or it's not practical anymore, or probably the uh, the acceptable variance is way beyond the threshold level, then yes, you are expected to ask for the permission of your program governance board for that, right? And all of that is documented usually in the decision making criteria in the governance model. So as per the guidance of the governance model, if in this situation, the situation is way like in the control limits or in the threshold limits, option B is the right thing to do between B and C. Because none of that context is available in the question that suggests that you should be going to the governance board for approvals or permissions. Option D, use the money to accelerate the overall program delivery, not just one component. So now we are between B and both B and D empowers the program manager to allocate the unspent money to expedite the component as per his best understanding and discretion. So what makes B ruled out? Why we are not considering D? So let's talk about that. Maybe as a statement, D is better than it, because D is taking the compound and holistic effect of all the different components with respect to value delivery. So maybe you would be wondering that why we are not taking that integrated view of overall program delivery for the acceleration. Why we are focusing on one component only? Again, I would say the same thing, that yes, as a statement, without seeing the scenario, D looks better than. But in this situation, we have a particular problem statement. The problem statement is that all components of the program, we don't know how many components are there, but we know that as many components are there, out of that, only one component is struggling and the other components are already done with their value delivery. So something which is already done. Why would the program manager would go back to that again and again? That's going to be redundancy. That's going to be the waste of effort and time and budgets and all. So context is very important. In this particular program, the component which is struggling, we are going to focus only on that to help that out with the budgetary capacity available with the program manager. So although the program managers are expected to focus on the overall program delivery with respect to maximization of benefits and realization of benefits in alignment with the program management principles. But in this case, its only focus would be that only leftover component, not the overall component, because that would be redundant effort for benefits realization. Benefits are already realized from those components which are already in their closure phase, right? So between B and D in this particular context, B is better, and B is the right answer to this question as well. I hope you like this explanation. We will be back with the explanation of a new PgMP scenario very soon. Till then, take care. Goodbye.